Hello and welcome back to my ARAM series. Today I'll be talking about champ select and team compositions. The current patch is 9.12. So when you hit accept to the game invitation, you'll be thrown in champ select. Here you can look at what character you're playing and adjust your runes and summoner spells accordingly. In standard games, you can choose what character you play, but not in ARAMs, hence the all random part of all random all mid. There is, however, a benching and character rerolling system. So every time you play, you earn points towards a reroll. You can see how many rerolls you have and how close you are to another reroll. On the client, you can click on Profile and then Overview, and you can cursor over this thing on the bottom here to see where you were at. I don't know the exact formula for how many points you get per game, but I do know that you get more reroll points the more champions you have. It's something like you get 2 points of reroll progress per champion you have per game, and it includes free-to-play champions in the weekly rotation. I have 137 champions of the now 144 champions, and I still receive a reroll every game. If you leave or dodge the champion select screen after expending your rerolls, you don't get them back. However, if you expend your rerolls and someone else dodges, you do get your rerolls back. When you reroll, your previous champion will go on the bench up here. This can be taken by you or any of your teammates by clicking on it. You can't choose which champion you have from the whole roster of champions, but you can choose from the ones on your bench. If you receive a reroll every game, you may as well use one if you have 2 available, because you can only have a maximum of 2 rerolls at a time. Even if the champion is something you'd like to play, you can reroll and quickly grab the previous character from the bench before someone else picks it up. This will give your teammates an extra option of characters. So this leads me to the next topic, creating a decent team composition or team comp. I'll look at the champions my teammates and I have selected, look at which ones are on the bench, and evaluate if I need to change my character or not. My thoughts on an ideal team composition is a solid front line with some ranged, squishy damage dealers. The frontliners will soak up damage and apply pressure as the ranged damage dealers put in the damage of their own. In addition to that, I want a mixture of damage sources, meaning some physical damage dealers and some magical damage dealers. In Champ Select, you want to diversify this because it makes it harder for the enemies to build against you. If your team does nothing but physical damage, the enemies could just stack a whole bunch of armor and dance on the battlefield as you struggle to kill them. Occasionally, you'll get into games where your team composition is bad and there's nothing you can do about it. You'll just have to do your best and hope you win. Like if you and your teammates have a bunch of tanks in your team composition and there's nothing but more tanks chilling on the bench. This happens sometimes, but most of the time I think I can create at least a halfway decent team comp. So here is an example of how I go about champ select. First, I use a free reroll if I'm sitting on 2 rerolls. Then I take a look at our team comp and take a look at the bench. I mentally slap the class labels onto the champions and figure out what we have and what we're missing, if anything. Then I take a bench champ to suit our team's needs and adjust my summoner spells and rune page to suit the character. Pretty straightforward. There will be people swapping with the bench and people trying to swap with each other. Some characters have multiple roles they can fulfill, like Singed being a mage or a tank, or Kog'Maw being a marksman that also does magic damage. So here we can see that my team is very magic damage focused. Kassadin, Karthus, Singed, Malzahar are all magic damage dealers, and even Kog'Maw's damage is roughly 50% magic damage because of his W. This means that the enemies can incorporate a lot of magic resist into their itemization to counter us, and we could struggle to kill them. In this scenario, I would take Kindred instead of Kassadin because she does physical damage. I could also take Scion, who does a decent amount of physical damage, although he is a tank and wouldn't pump out nearly enough damage as Kindred. We have Singed to tank, so I don't think we'd need Scion. I would go for Kindred here. Here's example 2. We have Annie, Braum, Lysandra, Riven, and Rengar. Our bench has Dr. Mundo, Kindred, and Lee Sin. This champ select is decent, but not amazing. We have a nice split of magic and physical damage, which is good. However, we all have short range, and we would need to get on top of the enemies and brute force our way down. Riven, Rengar, and Braum are all melee, and our mages have short range. I opt for Braum here because Rengar and Riven have a tendency of building as squishy assassins, so Braum can help protect them. I could be Kindred if I knew if Riven was going tanky, but that doesn't seem as good as Braum tanking it. I could be Dr. Mundo, he's also a tank, but I prefer Braum, who has more crowd control and can protect teammates better. Lee Sin is up there, but we certainly don't need 3 assassins/bruisers on our team. Braum just seems like the best bet here. And my last example. We have Jinx, Thresh, Xayah, Lux, and Kennen. Our bench has Cho'Gath, Nocturne, Riven, and Kayle. This is a fantastic team as far as I'm concerned. We have an even split of magic and physical damage, good range, and lots of crowd control across everyone in the team. I would take Thresh here and go tanky. Thresh can also build attack damage, but our team desperately needs a frontliner, so I'm content filling that role. Our bench is great too. I could be Cho'Gath, he's a solid tank with lots of crowd control, but I prefer playing Thresh, he's more fun. Riven and Nocturne can both go tanky, but they're not ideal tanks. Kayle would be an interesting choice for even more damage on our team, but we would have no front line, and the success of our team fights would rely heavily on my Kayle ults at the right targets at the right time, and that sounds pretty stressful. Tank Thresh seems like the best way to go here. You can see I still have 1 reroll, and that's because I'm happy with our team comp. I feel no need to use it. So that's the end of the video, short and sweet, and I hope it helped give you an idea of what to expect. Thanks for watching, good luck and have fun.